Baloth or Thragtusk in that matchup.
Yep. So here it does look like we have a backup feature match to bring you guys.
Kevin the Daddy Jones.
The one and only.
The one and only.
Against,
Turn 0 Leyline of Sanctity.
Yeah, against Ryan. Leyline Sanctity kind of implies some sort of combo-oriented deck. Ad nauseum. Steam Vents? Is it Storm? Are we Storm?
Oh, Cheerios?
I don't think it plays Steam Vents.
No?
We will have deck lists for you guys shortly.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on.
I'm not.
I know Kevin's on Grixis Delver. We see it looks like a Delver of Secrets in hand, right?
Old
now.
faithful for Kevin,
Yeah.
as it were. Kevin is very, very good at this deck. He won the last WMCQ with it, qualified for the
World Magic Cup.
World Magic Cup, Team USA.
They did pretty well, I think.
Yep, they did phenomenally well.
Yeah.
As it
Very
turns out,
proud of all our members.
Yep. As it turns out, when Kevin is very, very good at one deck in Modern, and it doesn't overlap with other people.
Well, it overlapped with a lot of things, but like they worked around.
They were able to work around it, exactly. Yeah.
Which was great. Like Owen Turnwald's like, I'm just not gonna play any of the spells he's playing, and I'm gonna play Infect, which still has blue cards in it.
Right.
So I think that was pretty phenomenal.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
so I guess before, since we don't know deck list, where do you think Grixis Delver is? Like, how do you like the deck?
I think the deck's really good.
Okay.
I don't like the Delver portion of it. I think there's a lot of hostility towards Delver, especially now with Fatal Push.
Okay.
But I like the Grixis decks. Grixis is, in Modern, has always been referred to as the Blue Jund deck. They have a lot of ways to do a lot of card advantage effects, Snapcasters, Kolgan's commands, stuff like that. So I really, really like the Grixis decks. I played a Grixis deck once at a PPTQ, and it was a lot of fun to play. It wasn't your traditional Grixis deck. It was more of like a tap-out Grixis deck, and I loved it. You know, probably one of the most fun decks I've ever had playing, but it's just I missed Goyf way too much. You know what I mean? Like the ability to just play a card on turn 2 that can just put the team on its back and just ride you to victory. Like, I just miss that too much. Like, I love Snapcaster Mage, I love Kolgan's Command, and this is easily the best Kolgan's Command deck, but I just can't
Is he playing
not.
Soul Artifact?
That's a Walking Ballista?
We have the Walking Ballista.
That's amazing.
All right, we are in on deck lists.
It's got to be like an Affinity deck, right? Yeah, Affinity Burn.
It looks like an Affinity deck, except we see different things. We do have the Steam Vents is a one of.
It's got 4 Lightning Bolts and 3 Galvanic Blasts. No Shrapnel Blast, though.
No Shrapnel Blast.
See, that's what I would be looking for. If
Right.
someone labeled their deck as Affinity Burn, I would be looking for Shrapnel Blast. But he's
Right.
got Walking Ballista, which is great. I think that's awesome that that's, you know, made its way into Modern. And he's 2-0 right now because both of these players are in the XO bracket.
Very interesting to see how this deck plays out.
Yeah, so all I can see that really differs is like Pia's Revolution's a new one, some Walking Ballistas are new ones, and Lightning Bolt's main board, right?
Right. So a slightly different mana base. So he actually does play a little bit heavier on the blue, with a bunch of islands. He has 3 islands, 1 Steam Vents, and I assume that's a nod to kind of have a more consistent red source, as well as the blue allows him to cast Thoughtcast.
Yeah. Are we playing any fetches at all in this deck?
There are 4 Misties here.
Oh, 4 Misties? That's really awkward. That's not the fetch land that I would play.
Yeah, Scalding Tarn would presumably be.
But I guess we're just.
I guess
playing Mountain.
he's only fetching blue, so.
We don't have any green cards on the board either.
No green cards.
All right.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I like it, right? You can throw your opponents off a little bit by turn 1 Misty Rainforest.
Doesn't really have a clock going here. He's had his 2 creatures fatal pushed.
Yep.
So.
I think my favorite part about Fatal Push is how well it interacts with Tragic Slip. You know, both 1 mana black instant removal spells that require something to leave the battlefield in order to have an extra effect.
So I'm kind of curious what the next iteration of bad event plus falling is. Like, like we have Tragic Slip, we have Fatal Push. Is the next thing going to be, I don't know, sad fall? Like.
I think somebody was mentioning about something like that with the dragons that they were printing with Thundermaw Hellkite, Stormbreath Dragon, and my buddy was like, "What's the no one? Lightning Lips?"
Oh, okay,
So-
okay.
Double Delver from Kevin Jones.
Okay. So it looks like we're getting a little action here. I think both players were a little action light. Kevin definitely on the reactive side. Serum Visions into removal spells into Serum Visions. It looks like he's trying to kind of turn the corner
Kevin's
here.
had the Delvers in his hand the entire time, but he's chosen to play with the Serum Visions and the Fatal Pushes, I think, probably in response to the Leyline of Sanctity coming down on turn 0. He probably switched up his game plan to go a little bit more reactive to try to combat what Ryan was doing.
Mm-hmm. I'm really curious to see. It looks like Ryan's having a bit of a hard time really getting his feet under him.
Yeah,
his
we're not
threats
seeing
are
much
kinda,
for threats at this point.
So one of the cute things is how Arcbound Ravager and Steel Overseer actually interact with Walking Ballista.
Yeah, that is really phenomenal, actually.
Oh, so we have a double flip.
Yeah, flip off the Spell Snare off the top.
Must be nice, as it were. Playing Delver, they don't flip for me.
I played against a guy in Legacy, nonetheless, who missed on Delver flips for 5 straight turns. We're talking like the Ponder Brainstorm Fetchland format.
Oh, right. Did you play against me? Because that's happened to me.
No, I think we might have jammed games where that happened to you when you were playing Rug.
So we see a blast removal spell, so slowing down clock. Ryan is under a lot of pressure to get something going.
Kevin's got a Colgan's Command in his hand too, which is pretty phenomenal against Affinity.
Yep.
And a Snapcaster Mage, so we can Colgan's Command, snap back Colgan's Command.
One of the more powerful interactions, as I would say.
Yeah, and again, like I was mentioning before, this is easily the best Colgan's Command deck because Snapcaster Mage is so powerful. This is very interesting. Not very good at this point because Kevin has 2 fetch lands on the floor and he can just fetch in response to get a swamp, get another island.
Am I missing something? Is there another land under there? How's he...
Yeah, there's a 3rd land under the island.
Okay. So here Kevin looks like to be doing pretty well in mana, having 3 basics, pretty strong.
And like he doesn't even have to let this resolve. Kevin has a mana leak in hand, I think. But I don't think he cares about the Blood Moon.
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
I think the Blood Moon might be hurting Ryan more than it is Kevin at this point.
I agree. Definitely a very odd list. To see.
I think it's cool for sure. I don't know. I don't think we need to go as deep as the Lightning Bolts in this deck. So we don't really need the Lightning Bolts and the Pia's Revolution, but I really like the Walking Ballista out of this list. I think, like you were talking about, it combos really well with the Overseer and the Arcbound Ravager.
Yeah, definitely very powerful.
Maybe Modular. Okay. Maybe Modular becomes an actual thing now when they have Walking Ballista.
Yeah.
Right? Like more modular cards in Modern might actually become powerful enough to play.
Right. We've seen that we don't see how powerful like the +1/+1 synergies is.
Yeah, we got Hanger Backwalker in Modern too, so we might be able to just go in on all of those cards.
Yep. That was one of the things that we previously saw in the Affinity deck that has kind of fallen by the wayside.
Yeah.
I think mainly just because people realize Affinity it's such a streamlined, oiled machine.
Yeah.
Right? There's no real need to be cute with any synergies. You just dump your hand.
Yeah, everything is already powerful enough that we don't need to change much.
Yep. So
I bet you Kevin feels a little bad for letting the Blood Moon resolve now that he's drawn a Desolate Lighthouse.
Sure. Okay, so there's another removal spell.
Yeah, that's fine. See, and that's why I don't like the Delvers. There's just so many things that kill Delver and get it off the floor that, like, I would much rather just be playing, like, Young Pyromancers or Tazigers.
Yeah, so if we actually take a quick look at Kevin's list, since we haven't looked at here, very standard. 4 Delver Secrets, 4 Snapcaster Mages. We have 3 Tassigers as a Delve creature of choice, and 2 Young Pyromancers, 1 Gurmag Angler. So he can still go pretty wide with threats.
Yep. And I guess having the Delver in the deck is probably just an ode to stretching out your opponent's removal more than anything. Because Delver is a hyper efficient 3/2 flyer. If you let it flip and start attacking you, then like you're in trouble if you underestimate the Delver. I
Right.
think that's the biggest advantage of playing it in Modern.
It's definitely one of the secrets of Modern is everything is just so efficient. Everything needs a very specific task. Everything has to have a very specific role.
Yeah,
which
and
is
if
really
it
what Delver
does flip and you do make contact with it, then you just basically paid a blue mana to lightning bolt your opponent if he kills it after that.
I agree. I completely agree. How lucky? How lucky?
I'm just used to it at this point.
Yeah.
I've played against Kevin Jones, so
It feels
alright
like
with
it feels like a one-way street for me. If I play Delver, mines are 1/1s. If they
Yeah.
play Delvers, I'm getting hit for 3. Like that's kind of how my my long-standing history with Delver Secrets has been.
Yeah.
I'm dumb enough to still be slamming it in Modern or in Legacy every turn I go to. So.
I think it's fine in Legacy because you have a lot more ways to not miss the second flip, right? If you miss the first flip, like it'll happen, right? You don't want to always brainstorm initially after you untap, right? But if you miss the second and third flip, then you might want to consider playing a different deck. I think.
Right.
I think that's one of the biggest tells, and like one of the decks you should really invest your time in. It's like, it's not how you like this deck and how much you like playing it. It's like, how does this deck like you? Like when I play Bobs and my Bobs flipping me land after land after land, being like, we got to keep playing this game. That's a sign to me. I need to play this deck. This is my deck, If your Delver slipped like Kevin Jones' Delver slipped, this is why we're still playing him in Modern.
So here we see a cranial plating come down.
Yeah, getting mana leaked.
Yep.
And we got a Mox Opal on the floor, right?
Yep. Mox
We
Opal.
don't have Metalcraft, though, because the cranial plating's on the stack still.
Yes, correct.
So we just have the Darksteel Citadel and the Mox Opal, so you can't tap that for mana.
Yep. Not currently active.
We have a Spell Snare in hand, though. It's weird to me that Kevin didn't use the Spell Snare there.
I think it's one of those things mana leak gets worse as the game goes on. I
True.
actually like it. If he kind of is anticipating, depending on what we saw, we know cranial plating gets hit by Spell Snare, Arcbound Radra gets hit by Spell Snare. It's a good catch-all. I don't think there's a reason to burn it right away.
Counter Magic? Oh, we have Dispels in the sideboard. Dispels and a Metallic Rebuke, actually.
One of the new sweet cards from Aether
the
Revolt.
Improvise.
Improvised mana leak.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. We're gonna let that get countered. Pass turn back to Kevin.
It looks to me like Kevin pretty much has the game locked up in bag. This is really a protect the queen type thing. Handful of counter magic, burn spells, Snapcaster Mage. He has all the tools he needs.
Yeah. I think there's a consideration for having gone like Snapcaster Mage Colgan's Command your opponent.
There's Leyline. He can't do that.
True.
So
I guess we can get back a second Delver and blow up like the Mox Opal.
this hurts because he's basically walking his Dismember into another mana leak here.
Yeah.
So it looks like this is going to be a little rough for Ryan.
I think if we were going to cast the Dismember like we're casting Dismember, we should have cast it when Kevin had the mana leak on the stack.
I agree. And this is a Dispel. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we still playing Magic? We are still playing Magic. Okay.
Yeah. It was a good exchange of counter magic.
Yep. It was a little painful for Ryan.
Yeah.
Paying 4 life to get rid of the Delver. It really goes to show how efficient that Delver was. Because
Yeah.
we had the initial damage from it. He rebought with Colgan's Command. And now Ryan had to spend 2 more cards plus 4 life
Yeah.
in order to kill the Delver. So
Walking Ballista for 2.
Yep.
It's good. We've got bolts in hand.
okay.
Kevin Jones going to take 2 mana or 2 damage off of that. Another beautiful thing for Walking Ballista, removal proof, semi, hanger back walker, a little bit better at interacting with removal than Ballista, but you still paid for damage. It's not a complete loss.
I'm a little confused. Kevin had 2 bolts and Ryan's at 6.
Leyline.
Leyline.
Yeah.
Okay, well we're 1 for 1. we both missed the interaction.
I'll give you that one.
All right.
It's not as bad as me where I'm just missing the lethal and they don't have ley lines. But I think Kevin's all right. We have Snapcaster Mages, very easily cast them and do stuff with our snaps at this point. Start attacking our opponent. We
By
can
the
start
Colgan's
flashing
command,
back
yep.
the Colgan's command, blow up Mox Opal, and get back Delver of Secrets. It's about the best we can do with something like that. Because both of the other modes would be required to target your opponent, and you can't.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, we can always continuously target the Darksteel Citadel for the rest of the game, because that can't be blown up.
Sure. And that's... Yeah,
so Ryan should be at 4 then?
Yeah. So I'm sure this is kind of the song and dance that Kevin has seen many times. Just Snapcaster Mage, Colgan's Command, chain my creatures together. And it's kind of similar to what we saw round 1 with the Abzan Company list. It's just these 2-for-1s. Eventually, you just overwhelm your opponent card advantage.
Yep.
It's like, and trading 1-for-1 doesn't really work to Ryan's advantage here, which is kind of where he is with the burn spells.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't think he has enough resources to go to the face to just outright kill him. So
no, 12 is a very high life total for a deck. We're only actually playing 7 burn spells.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to get the job done with only 7. No, I like Ryan's take on it. Ryan's take on it was very interesting.
Yep. And someone who definitely has no reservations about playing new cards. Which is definitely...
I think that was phenomenal. Yep. I barely even know what P's Revolution even does, actually.
I have no idea what that card does either. Whenever a non-token artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return that card to your hand unless the target opponent has Pia's Revolution, deal 3 damage to him or her. Pia's Revolution costs 2 and a red for an enchantment.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
We'll probably shout out to Gear Per Aether Grid, but a little bit more on the,
Bernie side.
Bernie and, anti-card advantage side, where, you're constantly asking your opponents, if you kill this, do you want to let me get it back, or...
Looking for fun, informative Magic the Gathering analysis? Look no further than Kirwan'sGameStore.com. Team KGS has the best writers and content providers this side of Kaladesh. Whether you're looking for standard, modern, vintage, tournament reports, or deck techs, Team KGS will give you the insight and analysis to help with your Magic game. Check out Kirwan'sGameStore.com weekly for new videos and articles and see why KGS is the best place in gaming.